New reports that Prince Harry has apparently refused to return to royal duties. Has anybody asked him? Unless he gets an apology from his brother.
Now, the claims are that Harry could assist with certain events, given the health of both the King and the Princess of Wales. But that would only be possible if Prince William would take the leap of making amends with him first, so basically apologising. Well, royal journalist Sarah Louise Robertson joins us now. Sarah Louise, are we correct in understanding that Prince Harry, after the Netflix series, the Oprah interview, the book Spare, and all the lambastering they've given to the royal family, including an allegation of racism, which then Prince Harry later confirmed to be unconscious bias and said that nobody in his family was racist, are we really to be led to believe that Prince Harry is expecting an apology? Is there any truth to this?
It's Prince Harry all over. This is the man. The Prince Harry, this is what he does. He throws out accusations and then he sits back and says, woe is me. When it's always about, he's always the victim. He's never to blame. He's always the victim. It's always the royal family's fault. It's always someone else's fault. It's always our government's fault or the British people's fault. He will never, ever, ever lay any blame at his own door. This is just classic Prince Harry behaviour. And yet again, he's spitting his dummy out the pram and just wanting his own way. And he's like laying the blame now on Prince William. So everything bad that's happened to him, it's now the fault of Prince William, it seems to be. So it's now Prince William that he expects an apology from.
Yeah,
to come back and sort of attempt to I think what he sort of sees himself as wanting to do is almost like he's going to be the saviour, like prop up the royal family again, like they're desperately needing him, which we know is not the case at all. But in his head, that's the narrative that I think he's trying to spin for himself, and he won't do it. You know, if he was to come back, it would be begrudgingly, and it would only be sort of Prince William sort of bows down and, I don't know, hits himself with birch sticks and says, Harry, I'm so sorry, it's all my fault that everything's gone wrong in your life. So it's, again, this new victim narrative that Harry's creating for himself.
It makes me worry about him, frankly, Sarah Louise, because if this is true, then he certainly thinks that there is a role for him in the royal family. He thinks there's a role for him amongst the British people, and he wants an apology to come back and do it. Whereas, as you say, the reality is the royal family don't seem to want him back. William doesn't seem to want him back, and frankly,
William definitely doesn't.
I don't think the British people would want him back.
No, this is it. You've hit the nail on the head there, Stephen. Exactly. It is worrying, that mindset, that he can look at things in this way and cast himself in this positive light. And as I said before, sort of lay all his troubles at William's door. He actually does believe that they need him and that he can do this half in, half out role, which the Queen famously told him at the time when we had Brexit back in 2020. She said, you can't do that. You can't have a foot in each camp. You can't be in America 6 months of the year and sort of pick up, in here, basically getting all the perks of being a royal, really, is what he's missing. She said, you can't do that. You're either in and you're a working royal, or you go away altogether. And at the time, we obviously know he chose to go away altogether. Now, this is Harry starting to try and get what he wanted at the start, which is the half in, half out analogy, where he can look like he's sort of like parachuting in, like Tom Cruise in a film. Oh yes, I'm here to save the day. I'll come and do this thing that you desperately need me to do. But then when the going gets tough, he races back to California and has his lovely Hollywood life over there and his lovely mansion in Montecito and all the rest of it, and can fly around the world on private jets and do whatever he likes. So he wants to have the best of both worlds. And he seems to think that he ought to have the best of both worlds. This is what I just find hilarious about it. What's actually, it's not hilarious, it's worrying, as you said, that he really believes that he deserves, that it's his royal privilege to have the best of both worlds. And that's what he should be allowed to do. And the person that's the thorn in the side and stopping all of this, in his mind, is now Prince William. No one else, just Prince William. And what he's trying to say is he's trying to basically turn everyone against Prince William and say, well, he's the stopper. He's the block from me being able to come back and do the royal duties that you all desperately need me need me to do? And that's, I think, where he's believing this in his head. He does miss life, yeah, he does.
It's laughable.
There's no doubt about it.
It's laughable that he doesn't seem to have any empathy towards anybody else apart from himself.
No, not.
Sarah Robertson,
thank
you. Thank you so much, Sarah. Really good to talk to you. She was on a rant there. I could see her. She was away with that. I get on one of those as well.
Wind you in, Sarah Louise.
I mean, I have to be clear here. I was a fan of Harry. I think he's completely lost the plot. He's behaving like a spoilt child, so's his wife. But this is extraordinary, isn't it? Laying down demands when he's written the book which has attacked Prince William, attacked Prince William's wife, attacked the King and the Queen, and in fact the whole flipping royal family shooting match. He should be apologising.
Exactly what I was going to say. He should be the one apologising to William. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he wants William to apologise for. That's not made clear. Look, they've had several chances to reconcile. They've had the Queen's funeral, they've had Charles with cancer and Kate. They are growing further apart from what I can see. There's no chance of reconciliation at all. And I do think Harry has got a very distorted perspective of what is going on. If he thinks his brother is going to apologise to him, I cannot even fathom what he's supposed to be apologising for.
I mean, there was this story, wasn't there, about this incident in which they had an actual physical altercation that was in Spare. And I've been trying to sort of work out what it is that he might want an apology for. Maybe it is specifically that incident, maybe, you know, but underneath so much of what he talks about, Joe, is this sense with Prince Harry that he always feels inferior. I mean, the title of his book, Spare, is because he was known as the spare to the heir that was Prince William. As a psychologist, can he ever really lance that particular emotional boil? Just saying sorry from Prince William isn't going to cut it, is it?
No, and I think with Prince Harry, you're right about the spare thing. But, there's been lots of people who have been spares. You can say Prince Andrew was spare, and that actually hasn't served him terribly well either. But he's made a role of it. He's created a dynamic from that role which he is capitalising on. And then he starts believing that he really is hard done by because he's in this junior role where he'll never be king. And I don't think he thinks in the real world anymore. I think he's so far removed from actuality, from reality now, at least in terms of the royal family, that nothing shocks me that he says anymore or asks for, but I do think none of it's going to happen at all. I mean, he's pursuing the British press, isn't he? He's still going on with that. He's living his life in California. I'm sure he's very happy out there. I'm not even quite sure what he wants, and I don't think he knows what he wants either, which is more to the point.
I was pretty amazed, Joe, that at that funeral just a week or two ago of Lord Fellows, his uncle, that neither William or Harry spoke to each other. I mean, I think shame on both of them, really. It's a funeral. They could have at least exchanged pleasantries.
I agree. I mean, this is what I mean about them growing further apart, because when they've had other formal occasions, the unveiling of the statue of their mother, they did share a few words. You've seen them have a few slightly clipped, not very warm words together, but in this instance there was absolutely nothing. And that's what I mean, the gulf is growing wider. It does seem, well, it seems sad. I don't know if it seems rude that they didn't speak. It seems sad. They'll fulfill their functions for the funerals of their relatives utterly independently from each other, and I actually don't see any reconciliation in the near future, possibly when they're much older. You get a bit more mellow, don't you? You're a bit more forgiving. But, in the next, even, God forbid, when their father dies, I still do not see them coming together at all. I think the gulf is wider than ever and appears to be widening even further.
As a psychologist, Joe, if you had Prince Harry sat in front of you in a chair, where would you start?
Oh, big question, Bev. Look, he's had a lot of therapy, so I'd have to bear in mind that he's already gone through many, many processes. I think I would say to him, what is it you want? Well, in your ideal scenario, how could you be the most fulfilled in your life? What would you like to happen? When he tells you that, how can we orchestrate that happening? How can we move on so that that does happen? I don't know even the answer to that first question. That's the problem.
Yeah, and
I
he
don't
probably
really
doesn't know either,
want
does he?
that. Yeah, it might take a bit of time to drill down. It'll be more than one session, trust me.
Yeah. Well, we've even seen him live stream his therapy sessions, haven't we? And it doesn't seem to have done a huge amount of good. Jo Hemmings, behavioural psychologist, thank you so much for joining us. And one day, I think, on Britain's Newsroom, I might do that to Andrew. We might just have a little therapy session where I ask him who he wants to be.
I think I know who I want to be. I don't think I need therapy.